How was it working as a mechanic in your younger days?
It was good and very rewarding. However, my body is now paying the price.
And how old are you, if you don't mind me asking?
26.
Well, just another fine example of why engineers suck. Today's flavor is Ford engineers. Have all this store part, body control module, the recirc assembly, metal brackets, the glove box, center console trim, kick panel trim, literally everything to get the blower motor out, which is stuck way up under the center of the dash. And even when you get everything out, it's still a pain in the butt to get out because it gets stuck in there. So 2019 Ford Escape, but yeah, engineers suck.
You ever notice the look on your mechanic's face? He's less happy to see you, and he's basically holding back a scream when you roll up in your Ford. A lot of mechanics, they don't like Ford, and the ones who do know they are guaranteed work and making them money. For example, the Ford F-150, the Explorer or the Ranger with a 10-speed automatic is considered the heavyweight champion of headaches. For years, owners and mechanics, they have battled the harsh, the clunky shifting, and the transmission that constantly seems to be hunting for the right gear. The transmission's adaptive learning is so aggressive in its pursuit of fuel economy that it could learn itself into a pattern of bad behavior. The good news is that Ford has been rolling out significant software and hardware updates for 2026 models to address these long-standing complaints.
When people say Fords are good cars, Ford, 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 and Ford. I have to agree, they are good cars for us to make money, because without them, we'd be broke.
And that's just sheer optimism for you. I told you, there are those who actually benefit from someone else's crisis. And the Ford crisis, some will consider it a headache, while others, like you're seeing right here, just laughs because he's guaranteed work at all times.
So whoever the stupid fucker that designed this bullshit, I'd like to kick his ass just one fucking time. Just once. Who in their right fucking mind would design headlights where you have to take out your whole fucking grill and damn near the whole front end just to change a fucking headlight? This is the dumbest fucking bullshit I've ever done in my life, and I've done some stupid shit. Luckily, I did have a fucking 10mm socket. I had that sumbitch under fucking lock and key, but this is fucking stupid. Fucking ridiculous. Wish I had a fucking Dodge.
And the funniest thing, I just randomly threw some of these videos, but as I can say, Ford and Kia maybe have the most complaints out there. Don't forget, Ford is the most recalled brand in the United States. And one of the reasons for this is that we can't forget about the infamous power shift transmission in the older Focus and the Fiesta models. The dual clutch disaster was notorious for shuddering, hesitating, and in some cases, failing completely, leaving mechanics to explain to furious customers why their nearly new car needed a new transmission.
Hey guys, Mr. MasterTech here. Long time no see. Now, if you've ever followed me, if you guys have really been following me, you know that I absolutely hate Ford products. Currently, I'm trying to get these transmission lines done on this Ford Escape, and I hate working on these motherfucking things. I mean, I've been doing this job for a long time. I've done a lot of transmissions on these things, and this just seemed to be the best way to get this job done. Pretty sure I talked to Ford Tech J. Cole about how much I hated Ford vehicles. Every single time I touch one of these things, I'm like, oh, this is going to be easy, and it turns into a cluster. Well, you know what I want to say. So just in case you guys don't know, I really hate Ford vehicles. Give me a Dodge or a Chevy all day, any day, and I will do anything on these vehicles. But for whatever reason, anytime I touch a Ford, it is a long, lengthy, problematic process, and things get broken, and it does not make sense to me the way that they're made. But check out this 68 RFE I'm getting built, guys. I guess it's the little things in life. Yeah. You'll have to ignore the light on my head. I have to wear it because everybody says that I'm not very bright. I hope the rest of you guys are having a good Tuesday. I guess let me know what your experience with the Ford Escapes has been. I had a lot of experience with these style of vehicles, also with Jaguar Land Rover, because the Range Rover Sport, I guess, is designed exactly like this. So pretty familiar with it. Every time I've had to work on one of these things, it's been a giant pain in the butt. Let me know, guys, in the comment section. Like and follow if you like the video.
Why do engineers hate us? That's the dipstick on an F-150. That's the catalytic converter. That thing gets really, really, really hot. To check the fluid level, I have to heat this engine or this transmission up to 200 degrees. Then with the engine still running, I have to stick my hand up here, undo this cap, and then there's a little plastic dipstick in there that I gotta keep. I mean, come on, guys. Why do you hate us? Why do engineers hate us?
Emotional, damn it!
It's not necessarily engineers hating everyone. It's just specifically Ford engineers we're dealing with in this particular video. You have to even talk about the electrical problems in some brands, especially the Ford brands. Some mechanics refer to these as slow, soul-crushing puzzles that can tie up their service bay for hours. A common complaint is a battery that dies for no apparent reason, forcing a mechanic to spend hours hunting for a parasitic drain by pulling fuses one by one. Other frequent issues include flickering dash lights and power windows with a mind of their own, often caused by a wiring that frays where it passes through the door jamb. It's not a simple fix or a quick fix, and some are difficult to quote accurately. So, while customers are furious as to the problems they encounter with Ford directly from factory, the mechanics are the ones who actually have to solve these problems.
This is the kind of job that gives mechanics a bad name. So this truck comes in for a simple battery draw. Oh gee, I wonder why. Now it did have a battery draw. It turned out to be the radio. It was taking 0.2 amps, which ain't good. So we unplugged it. That gets rid of the draw. So that was really the issue, but that is an issue. So, we're like, hey, we want to replace the cables, and that way you ain't working with this mess. Like, look at that. That's god awful. And then I'm not even kidding. It starts leaking water. Little puddle right there, and the other puddle right there when I had it parked over there. So I'm like, well, shoot. All right, let me take a quick gander at that. And that turns out to be the water pump. But not only that, look how bad this is. It's literally about to pull off the truck. So you have to tell the customer that. And of course, they're not happy because they only came in for a draw. Not only that, there's another drip behind that spot right there. Same thing over there. That's brake fluid. And well, what uses brake fluid? That's right, your clutch. So since it's a manual transmission, you have a clutch. Clutch uses brake fluid to activate the clutch. And well, after like 3 or 4 presses, I was out of clutch and I was out in the middle of the freaking road, backing up, trying to get into this bay. I'm stuck in the middle of the road. Clutch ain't working no more. I had to have guys push it in. And no, we got to replace the clutch system. It's filled it with fluid. It's fine now, but it's still leaking. It has a little leak. That's not good. It's leaking at the slave cylinder, which is the part that pushes on the fork that activates the clutch. So now we got to go to the customer and say,
So what you're seeing here is that he has to be doing corrective measures because another mechanic worked on it before. And that's what some mechanics do. Some are more obviously more experienced than others. And it's just a transition some go through. They will improve over time if they stick to the trade, but they constantly have to be renewing their knowledge in order to work on some of these vehicles.
hey, you also need a clutch, cylinders. And now we're going to start looking bad. Like, what do I do? Like, I just want this truck to leave and be reliable, and we're going to look like we're trying to sell this guy a whole bunch of things. And I'm not. I'm really trying not to. It's my least favorite thing to do, to sell people things. Especially like brakes and stuff. I mean, like a lot of times you still got a lot of life left, and that's another 10,000 miles on some brakes, So what do? Just, I don't know.
And the thing is, while an owner might blame the engine for misfires, mechanics, they often find the real problem hiding somewhere else. For example, many performance issues in the EcoBoost engines can be traced back to carbon buildup on the intake valves. It's a known side effect of a direct injection technology where fuel no longer cleans the back of the valves, and this can cause misfires and a rough idle that have nothing to do with the engine's mechanical health. So, while the engine block itself may be solid, mechanics are often frustrated by the supporting systems that cause it to act up.
So Corey and I finally got this 2-3 long block out of this Bronco. And this is our first one. I've never had a 2-3 out. So that's the old one. We got to strip a little bit down, put it onto this one. But we were taking a look at kind of the general engineering and how much of a pain in the ass it was to get out. And we were looking. And if you guys notice, this is the motor mount. Okay, you got a mount, has a stud that goes up through here. The stud and the nut attach it here. You guys notice the oil filter's right there. This oil cooler and the cooler, which has 2 coolant lines, inlet, outlet, is all one piece. God forbid this chunk right here breaks or the oil cooler leaks and has a crack in it. You have to replace the entire motor mount assembly just to fix it. One piece. Talk about fucking stupid. No bueno. How get big enough these clamp? No.
And the thing is, in order to effect service on some parts of the vehicle, you have to do exactly what they're doing right now. Pull the body from the chassis and work on the engine, and you need a sophisticated garage to actually do that. Not an everyday backyard garage can do that, and where the engine mount was situated right there, sometimes you have to do another thing as well. You have to take the complete engine out in order to change the engine mount based on where it's located. Those are some of the design flaws that the mechanics encounter. So when you see that look on your mechanic's face, you have to remember it's not personal. It's the reality of every Ford just like yours that they have to fix. It's a frustration of wrestling with engines and transmissions that were flawed from the factory and chasing electrical problems that Ford's own engineers created.
So as the biggest Ford hater that I can think of on planet Earth, I thought it'd be a good idea to buy a Ford Power Stroke 2 months ago. Not to my surprise, this thing has been a heaping pile of dog shit. Like, worst ownership experience of a vehicle I've ever had, and I've had like dozens of vehicles in my lifetime already. Motherfucker, boys, I'm dropping this thing off the shop for the 4th fucking time in 2 months. Got so many fucking Fords, don't even know where to put them anymore nowadays, boys. Parking it right out front. Should get work done right away, hopefully. I fucking hate you. Have a good day, boys, and remember, choose Chevy.
Why mechanics
Brand
hate
new
engineers.
Ford Bronco Sport. Underneath the vehicle, drain pan, front of the vehicle, there's your bolt. What the fuck were you thinking, Ford?
Ford Broncos have been a long-standing issue ever since they released on the market. What has your experience been? Drop a comment below and share your Ford repair stories. Make sure to subscribe, like, and share. Remember to grab a copy of my ebook, The Parts Manager Guide. The links are in the description box below. Stay sharp, stay educated, and I will catch you in the next one.